Hello and welcome to our sixth. It is sixth, I'm pretty sure, episode of our podcast. And you know how it is. That's Andrew, Nick, Zach, and my name's Elliot. And so we're just gonna hop right into it. Before we get into our big main discussions here, we're gonna talk about last night's NBA and NFL games. Andrew, you want to kick this off?
So last night we had the Knicks versus the Cavs. Knicks came out on top in a pretty convincing win. I mean, double-digit win. Knicks fan, do you want to talk to that?
I mean, it's against the Cavs, and we lost them 2 days prior, so I'm not really in awe about it. I mean, the only thing I'm in awe about is Julius Randle scoring 30 points. And
that is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. At that point, we're 4-8, 4-9, and it doesn't matter. Whoop-de-doo. And then, so we're 4-9. I'm not too happy about it. I mean, any win's a win at this point.
It's a momentum builder. It could be.
I was thinking about it the other day, damn, we really beaten the Mavericks twice. Now we're beating the Cavs, and we compete against the Hornets, who are at the 8th seed right now. So I figured, I knew our ceiling's an 8th seed this year because all the young talent and mixed in with the vets that somehow shoot threes and bring up the ball.
We're looking at you, Morris.
Yeah. And, as long as they can continue to work together and grind like the way they've been, they should be okay.
It's a steamroll type of win. You want to keep going. You want to build off it. You want to win next game and keep winning. It's what the Knicks need. It's a young team. The Pacers versus the Nets. We had a Pacers win coming out of that. No Depot yet, and Kyrie did not play.
Yep. I feel like if Kyrie played, it probably would have been a different outcome.
It could have been. You never know. But
I disagree.
So.
I just feel
they've been struggling as a whole. Last time they played the Pacers, he messed up his shoulder pretty bad. So he collided against someone, and with a point guard that uses handles and shoots the ball very often, a shoulder injury is to be taken very seriously.
Well, yeah, no doubt about that. But if Kyrie was healthy, coming off a hot hand for multiple games, I feel like it definitely would have been a different outcome. Probably maybe close, but Pacers probably still would have won. But it definitely would have been not as bad.
As a blowout.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what do you think about the Raptors and Hornets game? Hornets destroying them 132-96.
No, Raptors destroyed them.
Raptors.
Yeah, Raptors destroyed the Hornets, my bad, 132-96.
I just think the Raptors are doing great without Kawhi. They're showing that, like I said last episode, when, they don't need that one person, They have Siakam, Van Vliet, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're fine without him, and I'm excited to see where the Raptors go this year without him.
They showed that they don't really need that one big name.
I think it's Siakam's their superstar. I think he's an all-star in the East.
But can you really say that he's a superstar like Kawhi or somebody
Give him a year because he's already got the contract to prove it, and he's proving it right now. But I'm going to piggyback off what Nick said, is that this team doesn't need a superstar. 7 of them scored 10 or more points, and 2 of them over 20. And especially they still got the depth of the team they had last year, and they still got the same coach. They're sitting 9-4 right now, 4th seed in the East. And we already established this last time. The top 6 teams are staying the same. The Pacers, Sixers, Raptors, Heat, Bucks, and Celtics. They're going to stay the same majority of the season. They're not going to intertwine. They might intertwine the top 6, but there's not going to be a team.
Nobody's going to drop.
Nobody can jump. So they definitely got top 6 on lock. Top 4 is maybe if the Nets continue to struggle. Maybe the Nets can intertwine that. But other than that, the Sixers can only get better because Simmons has to find his. He's only scoring 13 points, and 95% of his shots are coming from the paint, which is more than last year. And he's got apparently a hidden jump shot that we've all seen over the summer, but we haven't seen it in the league.
I'm waiting for that.
The Pacers, they still have Depot to come back, so they're only going to get better. So the Raptors just have to continue playing team basketball.
And the Sixers need to fire Brett Brown, and Joel Embiid needs to stay healthy, and
not start fighting people.
I don't care about that.
Just needs to be playing.
He did win that fight.
I don't care about that. Joel Embiid can fight anybody on this planet. I don't care about that. But
as long as he plays games.
As long as he plays games. 10 games. That's that's the max.
Okay.
Other than that.
All right. So last night the Bucks beating the Bulls. Giannis scored 33 points and another MVP performance with 16 boards.
I feel like that's just normal Giannis. This is how Giannis should be
shooting
playing.
Threes now.
I was kind of scared in the beginning of the season, for Giannis, though.
Oh, because they were blowing leads and he's getting in foul trouble a lot.
Yeah.
Well, of course, coming off the summer, Andrew and I, we talked about this before.
You got to warm up.
You can't emulate an NBA actual game unless
And
you play an NBA game.
I think him playing overseas kind of might have messed his game up a little bit.
He definitely is
'Cause-
tired.
Like, you don't go play overseas and come back and you're 100%. He's tired. He's probably drained, but he's realizing now. I think next year we're not going to see him do that. Unless it's smaller games, less games, slower pace.
I mean, the thing is, they didn't play him. They only played him like 10 to 13 minutes before the actual tournament. And then in the tournament, he was playing like 20 minutes a game. Where here in the NBA, he's playing 36, 38, pushing 40 if it's overtime.
But I think this is just to the point where we're seeing Giannis play grown man ball.
Actually, Giannis be actual Giannis.
Yes. I think he says he's at a 6 or a 7. Do you think he says that he's at a 6 or a 7 out of 10?
Yeah.
I think he's more of an 8 or 9. I think he's got to work on his consistency.
If he thinks he's lower, I want to see him at a 10 out of 10, fucking averaging 50 points.
But that's what you like to hear from a player. You never want to hear a player say, "Oh, I'm at my prime right now.
I'm at my max. I'm at my peak." Yeah.
Like, especially a guy who doesn't have a jump shot.
Yeah.
His was young and is on a team that hasn't proved anything yet. They made the playoffs. They made a little
60
run.
wins.
That didn't result in anything.
Yeah,
That doesn't put a banner up. That doesn't do anything. And
Does
that's the
put
type
a
of guy.
banner
I mean, but yeah,
Puts
look
the
at
Central Division banner.
We're talking about
Yeah,
60
that's
wins.
what you guys
It
want.
doesn't really mean anything. Look at the bringing it back. The Warriors breaking the record and then losing.
Blowing a 3-1 lead, not just losing, blowing a 3-1 lead after posting a 73-win record.
Yeah.
So now we got the Trailblazers and the Rockets.
Tough game for the Blazers, losing 132 to 108.
But in Melo we trust.
They
They
played
can turn
tonight,
this around.
but
I need him for fantasy.
the
please.
Rockets had 3 players over 20 points: Capella, Westbrook, and Harden. With Harden having 36. Is this what we should expect from the Rockets from the rest of the season?
From
Or
James Harden, most definitely. But again, like we were saying about how, Russ hasn't been playing like Russ just because,
he has no need
James-
to.
He just had his 140 something triple double.
but
That's becoming the norm for him now.
Yeah,
But
Like
the
a
thing is,
40-point triple double.
he used to
like
score
but it's still
like,
Russ being Russ.
He used to score at least
30, 28, 26.
and now he's
Yeah, what was he,
scoring like
26 per game?
17 points a game, and
I mean,
Well, that's what happens when you have another All-Star. in your
that's
team.
what
You
I'm
have
saying.
I
dominant
think that's
ball
the
handler.
maturity. We're seeing the maturity of Westbrook as we speak, because he's realizing in that locker room, like, well, I'm not the most talented offensive player here. It's obviously James Harden.
Yeah.
He's a year younger, and no one really seems to slow him down other than not unbiased here, the Bucks, because they figured out how to kind of, of course he doesn't get as much fouls called as he does now, but still a lot, just not as much, And I just think that adding Westbrook and then having Westbrook throwing lobs to Capella like every play just really spaces out the floor for them, despite Capella not being a stretch 5, which they really don't need on that team because they still have Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker who are playing extremely well.
Yeah, they got the great role players on that team, and I think at the end of the day, that's a team that could fight for a top seed in a competitive West.
They're 11-3. They're a game back, half game back.
Come around the end of the season, I mean, I think we're going to see them top 4. I didn't think that they were going to mesh us well, and I was one of those people that was like, Harden is a solo star, Russ is a solo star, but we're kind of seeing both of them mature, and we know they played together before.
But they were like
now,
20.
now they're
And they also had Durant.
Going off of Westbrook's lower numbers, you got to think about it too that Capella and Harden already know how each other play. They already know Harden can shoot the ball at will, and
He's going to shoot it at will.
yeah, exactly. That's his play style. Well, you got Westbrook. He's not really the greatest 3-point. So when you could take that out and have him do other things, moving around, being a distraction to help Harden, that's kind of how it's going to be. This is something that you should expect.
I think I kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna doubt it at first, and then I was like, okay, they're more mature, which I didn't consider.
Yeah.
Mike D'Antoni is kind of a good coach when it comes to dual stars. He had Nash and Stoudemire do really successful well in the regular season. He had Melo and Stoudemire in New York, very successful regular season type ball. I just want to see postseason Rockets right now. We've seen this time and time again, them dominating the regular season, but when it comes to March and April, we don't see the same dominance that we've seen, and which is why probably Westbrook's taking his time. Because when it turns off playoffs, Harden and Westbrook, they're probably going to switch. Because Harden's going to be a little bit more tired, which is, okay, because you still got Russell Westbrook there. But moving back to another high-scoring star here, Mavs beat the Spurs 117 to 110. Luka Doncic had a 42-point triple-double. Nick, you want to talk on that because he's on your fantasy team?
This kid,
Can ball.
like, yeah, he can ball. Like
He's a bad man.
He's
He's a
ridiculous.
bad man.
He's just ridiculous at what he does. Like,
And it's not even like he's that fast. He's just
No,
very
he-
technically sound,
yeah,
and he knows.
he's
like,
very fundamental.
and
He has a rhythm that he follows to the T.
Yeah, and
And
it's
he-
like
and
you
he
got
perfects
Kristaps
it.
there. He only scored 18 points. Like, what the like? You know, he doesn't really need another star kind of because he proved it last year, and then Finney-Smith had 20 points last night as well. So, I mean, that he's got a decent team around him. I just think their coach could be a little bit better. I'm not saying Rick Carlisle is the most like a terrible coach, but I mean they're 8-5 right now. They're 5th. They're top. They're a game back. The Jazz are right behind them at 6, and they're right behind the Clippers at 4th. And you know maybe they don't change anything at all during the All-Star break, which we kind of thought they should do at the All-Star break or trade deadline. But maybe they don't. Maybe they ride it out because if Luka continues to play well.
If this team had speed, they would probably be close to unstoppable.
Because that's my thing though. Luka's not that fast of a guy. Like he's a little bit on the bigger side, and we knew coming into the league he was gonna be a little bit slower. We didn't know he was gonna be this dominant though, being this slow of a guy, being a point guard. You know, you normally want your point guards to be fast, but now you want your point guards to be able to dribble the hell out of the ball and shoot it, which they found out that works. And when a point guard was slow and can shoot the ball, you just want a bunch of lengthy motherfuckers to play defense.
Yeah.
I think the main issue with the Mavericks, having watched a few of their games, is that outside of Luka, Kristaps is good for a couple buckets, but nobody else on that team has like a set skill that they can 100% do
Curry.
on the floor.
Seth Curry can
Other
shoot.
than Curry shooting. But that doesn't fit well into that offense. There's not really any times where you see Luka on a designed pick and roll kick or like a drive and kick situation. Luka's either getting to the bucket and taking it himself and gonna be that guy and make his own move or do his own
working.
bucket, which is working. Like they're gonna score. But I see a similar situation to where Devin Booker is in Phoenix, where you're scoring, your offense. That's the game plan. That guy.
But that's the difference in between like the organization of the Mavericks, and that's in Dallas, and it is in Phoenix. The team in Dallas, they have a team around him. Like they already have a Southern star.
But my point is that
Yeah.
when you watch their offense, it's individual scorers.
Oh, okay.
So it's not a set offense.
Mhm.
And in that, I mean, when you watch like the function and the movements and how things happen, and I think that's why they lost to the Knicks. And because the Knicks have a set way that they want to shut you down
defense.
on defense because they're all long, they're all lengthy.
They're all power
Luka's not getting the
forwards.
easiest buckets. He's really going to have to play that finesse basketball,
Which we
know
did
he's
watch.
good
He
at.
was getting frustrated toward the end of that game because he wasn't getting fouls called because he kept taking it to the hoop.
So-
and no disregard to the Knicks, they're all power forwards at the end of the game.
So what you need from the Mavericks to really put yourself in a serious, hey, they're a threat spot, not that they're not kind of already, but get Rick Carlisle.
I'm not saying he's a bad coach, but like I said, wait till All-Star break. If they start lowering down the seed, then you hit the panic button. But if you're Mark Cuban, I'm relaxed.
I feel like
at the end of the season, if you don't make something out of it, a playoff push, I think that's when you kind
I
of
think
push
if
a little bit
you
of
go to
panic
the
button.
second round, then you're okay with it because you are the lower half right now. But if you are a lower half, like if you're 5 and lower and you make a second round, then you're like, well, okay, maybe we have something here. But if you don't, then maybe.
I think a lot of teams are realizing that this is an open year. Like other years, we've been able to say, okay, Warriors are making it.
Warriors
Cavs have a
and
chance.
the top 3 who have the
In the
Warriors,
East,
and
yeah.
if LeBron's on the East, is LeBron. Warriors and whoever the top 3 seeds are in the East.
Yeah, but this year is kind of an open season, so I don't know if any team really pressed the panic button after this season, or,
Maybe.
or if they just kind of like say,
Except
all
for the
right,
Warriors.
start
Yeah.
rebuilding. But I just think the Mavericks specifically, watching them, they need to kind of figure out a flow and get themselves into an offense where Luka is the prime scorer and the premium bucket getter that he is, but they need to find a way to open it up more for him.
I kind of feel like watching this, it's going to sound really weird,
Yep.
but to me it kind of makes sense. It's like watching Capella and James Harden. Like, you got Luka, that's going to be the main scorer, that's going to be the main person to do everything for that team, while you got Clint Capella, or a.k.a. Kristaps in this position, going down low, getting the buckets that they got to get, the rebounds. It's just like, I think they do need one more piece.
Yep.
Just KP could space the floor a little bit better than Capella.
Yeah.
But
That's
like,
really the
when
only
you
difference.
stretch out the floor, you don't have a lob, like, because Clint Capella's finishing every lob. Kristaps is going to be open on 3 because people are going to be like, they're going to forget once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just one of those things.
But that's also one of those guys that could get to the rim or do post moves. But like,
But yeah, if they
That's
definitely had like one more superstar that could be like an all-around,
Yeah.
it's definitely obviously it's going to help, but it's just going to give him a bunch more options and kind of relieve Luka a little bit.
I mean, they just extended Kristaps, so I don't think they have the cap space for another superstar. But if they do see a younger guy, because this is the contract year for a bunch of those draftees 3 years ago, so if they can find one for cheap, that could be promising.
I mean, definitely worth looking into.
Like maybe Fultz would have been the right trigger to pull, maybe if they wanted to trade for him.
Or you can try to get that Chris Paul.
Yeah, like even maybe get that Chris Paul at the deadline
That would
if
be a
things aren't
nasty
working.
team right there.
But again, though, I think they're willing to go on luxury tax, like we've talked about. If you're winning a championship, you got to go on luxury tax.
Yeah, like they have good all-stars. They have certified all-stars,
And they have
pretty
role
much.
players, and their coach is certified in the league as a champion. So.
And then I think if they could, like I said, add that one more player. I mean, Jamal Crawford is a free agent still, which I think is insane considering that Melo got
He
signed.
thinks it's disrespectful, but again, he says that he thinks it's disrespectful, but he doesn't care that much. If that makes sense.
I mean, a guy that was in the league last year, a guy that played
Everywhere.
the entire, the entirety of his career, never really talked much. Won a couple of six-mans.
Very nice man off the court.
It does a lot. Always with the team. Never really that guy that you see in off the court trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that no disrespect to Melo. I wanted the Lakers to sign Melo. I'm a big Lakers fan. Wanted them to get Melo, but teams that need another option or a bench guy, don't be focused on Andre Iguodala, which a lot of teams are.
Well,
I think they can
he's-
pick up a Jamal Crawford and have a little bit of defense out of him, a little bit of a spark off the bench, and have a good vet.
Keep going.
But other than that, the Mavericks maybe one or two offseason moves. But
Okay.
I mean, other than that, they're looking like a solid team.
They are.
Yeah, I think it's just more hype kind of was surrounded by Melo. Like, nonstop, everybody was talking about Melo on free agency. I haven't really heard Jamal Crawford. I mean, yeah, I know he's heard, but can you agree with me that, like,
I
it was
even forgot-
Melo?
I even forgot he was still in the league. I didn't.
Well, that's. But no, we got a Celtics fan. The Celtics moved to 11-2 after taking the win over the Suns. That puts them. They're still a solid first in the East, and a team that without Kyrie now and without Gordon Hayward. Do you think this helps your team going forward, or is this just you should be winning?
I feel like, well, let me bring it back real quick. I feel like I wasn't able to watch the game for Sacramento, but I feel like it's just the loss that they needed. They needed to lose to a lesser team to kind of get their heads straight.
And realize it's not all highs.
Yeah, they need to realize that, hey, we're not going to beat the Warriors' streak right now. We have to focus on right now the game we're going to play next. But right now, looking at it, Kemba Walker is the best options that the Celtics probably could have gone for. He is a team player all around. He motivates players. He tells them to hey, you're shooting bad, keep shooting. It's something that the Celtics needed.
He's a captain. He's a true leader.
Yeah, other than Kyrie, where he's just like, all right, I'm going to take it into my own hands, and if I mess up, it's my fault. But that's not what you need.
Different type of leader.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this is a pretty good win for the Celtics going against the Suns. I mean, it really proves that we can go against those good guys.
Yeah, I mean the Suns are a good offensive team. They struggle kind of on defense. I mean, it is what it
the
is.
past
but
couple games that I've seen, I think they've done all right.
The Suns?
On defense. Oh no, I was talking about that.
Well, yeah, the Suns are
I thought
a
you meant
decent
the
defensive
Celtics, I'm
team.
sorry.
I mean, another young team, but the Celtics definitely have proved without Gordon Hayward, and they got those young, fast guys that they got the Jaylen Brown moving around doing his thing, Jason Tatum moving around getting his buckets. I mean, it's a good team, and it's nice to see the NBA restored, where the Lakers and the Celtics are leading the West and the East.
But I feel like Jason Tatum, when he gets hot, feed the hot hand. When he is cold, he needs to relax and chill out a bit. Then going back with Gordon Hayward, if you look at last year, we still managed to make the playoffs without Gordon Hayward. But obviously, with can you call him an all-star at least?
All-star before injury.
Yeah, all right. So call him an all-star before he got injured.
The way he was playing, I think he might be.
He has a chance to be back at that level, but
yeah.
I mean, you can't call him an all-star when he hasn't played a full season for 2 years.
All right.
You know?
So I'll give him
A
really
former
good
all-star.
A former all-star comes back off of injury, starts doing phenomenal, starts getting up to where he was just to get injured again. It sucks to see, and it just shows that we can win without him, but he definitely helps greater when he's on the court.
But it is a lesser injury this time, so it's not
Luckily.
okay,
It's
this
not
is your
a season ending.
Yeah, it's not like a good thing, but you take the bad with the good, and you kind of roll with
Then
what you
Marcus Smart got hurt against the Suns.
Yeah, but he's a
was it?
scrappy guy. He's gonna play through it.
Oh yeah,
Unless if
definitely,
it's like something like surgery wise, like he's one of those type of guys where you need on a championship team.
I think
where
it was
he's
just an
gonna be
ankle
scrappy.
sprain or something with the ankle.
He's kind of on that Andre Iguodala tier of player where it's like he's gonna get you a couple buckets.
Mhm.
He's gonna probably guard a better player
He's
on the
a
other team.
Great defender.
And he's a playoff player. Like that's energy, high pace, good tempo, good player. Like I would say, a playoff piece.
Do you have anything else to say about the Celtics?
Other than I think Kemba is an all-star for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Starter maybe because Kyrie's hurt. Kyrie's hurt, and his stats are gonna be better than Kyrie's, I think. And leading the East, it's it's not a joke now.
Leading
like
the
it's
East on a
before.
team that Kyrie.
Left is kind of it. Now my
That kinda
question
feels
is:
great in my
is it
opinion.
an admin? Is it? Do we give the credit to Brad Stevens? Because if you look at the point guards that he's coached over the past 3 years, Isaiah Thomas turned him into an MVP candidate. They were a top seed in the East. Kyrie Irving, they were a top seed in the East. Well, not like the top, but they were a top tier team in the East.
Mm-hmm.
And now Kemba. So is it Brad Stevens or is it just that
I
whole
think-
roster, the rest of the roster
I
just
think-
meshes with everyone else?
If I could speak to this,
Yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
I think that the props need to be given to Brad Stevens, but you have to take into account what he's worked with. Isaiah Thomas was a breakout guy. I'll give that to him. But he's also a vet, and he was a veteran at that point. He's played quite a while in the league. He's bounced around from his share of teams. He's played with a lot of different pieces. And those were just the pieces that he clicked with well at that time. I mean, who knows what would have happened if he stayed there?
Scoring 59 points at 5'7", 5'8" is, or whatever,
Well, it's outstanding, and that's how you know he's a true scorer. But at the end of the day,
I think it is Brad Stevens, to be honest, because there's no way you can cycle through point guards like this and be like, okay, I'm still going to be the top team in the East no matter what. Like, there's
but other
no
than point guards, what else has changed on that team?
centers.
Al Horford left.
Al
I mean,
Horford, Franz Cantor. What else?
yeah.
Yeah, but...
And then they picked up Baines. Or
No,
They
lost
dropped
Baines.
Baines.
They
Or
picked
dropped
up Baines,
Baines.
dropped Baines. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
Morris, lost Morris. Like that. Other than the core of Brown, Smart, Hayward, for the past 2-3 years, that team Tatum, they haven't really changed. Like I think
That's what I'm saying. It's
and
been
then their
guards
point
and
guard, their
center.
point guards and centers have been moving, which is a big piece of it.
I think if you can make something of one of these teams, like a conference championship,
Maybe
then
this
you
one.
kind of give him the props on it. But point guard wise, he's been doing good. I mean, he kind of makes the most of his situations regardless, and that's the key to a good coach.
And Kemba,
Yeah.
I heard Kemba was great in the locker room regardless.
He is a
Like
good
in
locker.
yeah,
That's
Charlotte,
what I was
he-
talking about.
He stayed in Charlotte for that long. That's how we know he's a good locker room guy. Because anyone else would have been like, I'm
And
leaving.
Anthony Davis, I want to go.
Yeah, and I think it's props to more Brad Stevens than Kemba because we knew Kemba was an all-star coming into the season.
Mm-hmm.
We knew coming in that he might mesh better than Kyrie ever did with this team.
Mhm.
And at 11-2, he's proven to
Because
be.
that's what those young guys
And
need.
he
man.
had like
They
the
need a strong
Hornets
leader.
had not as talented, but had what the Hornets had.
The Hornets had young pieces like Malik Monk, Miles Bridges, and they had vets like Bynum or Nicholas Batum or however
So
you
he
call his
knows-
name, Marvin Williams and Cody Zeller. But it's just that team had never had salary cap because they invested like money in like Bismack Biyombo and Marvin Williams and Michael Gilchrist to where they couldn't get an actual star, and plus no one wants to go to Charlotte. So Kemba stayed because he's that nice of a guy, and Michael Jordan was like, "Hey, you're a Jordan athlete. If you stay." When his rookie contract was up, so it was like, "I'm not giving that up."
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think he's still a Jordan athlete, and now he's playing for the best team in the East right now.
Yeah, but that's what that locker room needed. Those young guys really needed a good vet, a solid,
Humble.
the humble guy that's going to say, hey, like Zach said, keep your head up, get your buckets. That just straight.
I'm gonna
plain
get
and
mine.
simple.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Shoot your shot, keep going.
Yeah.
You're shooting bad.
And Gordon Hayward is slowly coming back to form. I wouldn't say all-star just yet, like you guys were.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rebuttal what you guys just said. It's just he's been hurt, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that
it's hard
he's
to place him.
proven. Yeah, it's hard to place him. Looking back at it, his contract maybe is on the heavier side,
Mm.
but again, Brad Stevens is like Andrew said, making the best of what he's got. So
He's
now
doing a good name up.
we go to the Timberwolves. They rocked the Jazz 112-102. Nothing significant happened there. On an ordinary. The Timberwolves have been playing really well. The Jazz have been playing really well. Nothing really blew my mind.
I
feel
definitely feel like it's a game that
blowout.
Yeah,
it-
10-point win, nothing really crazy.
I feel like this should have been a
Wiggins
game the
didn't play,
Timberwolves won.
but
Yeah.
Regardless, I
we
feel
knew
like
he was hurt. So
you got Karl Anthony Towns is always
he's gonna put his up.
he's always gonna do good. It's just a game that Timberwolves should have won.
All right, the Clippers stopped the Thunder 90-88
I'm so-
after a coach's challenge that saved them the game. Doc Rivers and Paul George is back.
I just want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
These challenges are probably one of the better things that the NBA has done.
Ooh.
It slows the pace down, but it gives so much more control to the team, and it leaves so much less up to chance. Humans make errors. Refs are going to make errors. They are human.
Yes.
And we all get upset about it. Everybody that watched sports ever will be upset about it.
Yes.
But giving the coaches and the team power to say, I think you're wrong, and I'm not going to get ejected for
Hey,
this.
you're an idiot.
So let me challenge this.
Marcus
And
Cousins would not be ejected at so many games if this was a thing.
And especially in situations like this where it's like it saves a game for somebody. If that blows the game, NBA is on every platform getting just demolished for this
Especially
bad call.
Twitter.
And you hate
Yep.
to see that. Like, so these reviews and these challenges or whatever we call it, the coaches challenge,
It slows the pace,
it slows the pace down. But at the end of the game, you want to see that.
Yeah.
You need that.
and it also kind of gets the coaches more thinking because it's like, do I challenge now or later? Like the Mavs and Knicks game, for example. Rick Carlisle used it in the
wasted
first
it.
half, and at the end of the game, it was like,
Needed it. And
I
it wasn't
can't
there.
challenge this out of balance call. Oh hell! Like when
Yeah,
Frank
so-
stripped that ball from, or Randall
Uh-huh.
stripped that ball, he couldn't challenge a foul on that play because he didn't have it, and that was a key moment in the game. Sorry, Testone.
But-
All right. But do you think Paul George is back and better than ever?
Yes.
I think he's more efficient, but that hey, Thunder, he was efficient, and then he ended up getting hurt. And I hope this isn't the case here. But we haven't seen him and Kawhi in the court at the same time.
All I'm saying is 22 minutes, 29 minutes, and 30 minutes. He hasn't broke 30 minutes yet.
Well,
He's not playing
They don't need him to.
all-star
really.
minutes. And like you said, they don't need him to. But what happens when they go up against the Lakers, the Rockets,
You're right.
or
I mean-
a better team in the East, like the Celtics?
I know we joke about this in our group chat, how him and Kawhi aren't going to play together until the playoffs, but it might just be a reality at this point.
I mean, if they're winning games, all the power to them. But you got two All-Stars. They have not played a single game together. You don't know how they're going to play. If they don't play well,
And
this is a big issue.
It's
And
after trade deadline.
And Doc Rivers is a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. Probably a Hall of Fame coach.
Oh, yeah.
But these are two, for the most part, quiet guys. So not real, like, powerful leaders like a Kemba or LeBron or stuff like that. But the bench has been there. So who knows if this team is going to mesh well when both of them are playing. And limited minutes from the bench,
Ooh.
that's going to cut into...
I think their bench is the best part of that team.
and then,
but
like I said, if they're both on the floor, that cuts into the Lou Will minutes, the Montrezl Harrell minutes.
I don't think
potentially.
their minutes get touched. I think the more of like Harkless and all their forwards and Jermichael Green and
So their bench.
I feel like they need it as soon as possible to get them together. Early in the game, you still...
playing like 8
and
minutes
not,
together. You
and
know
not
what I mean?
like bum minutes. Like I don't want to see them going out there and playing
Scraping the
like,
Knicks by
Pelicans
40.
or the Knicks or something. I don't want to see them going out there and playing bad teams. Put them out there against even a Timberwolves team, a good team, a mid team. I'd like to see them play the Heat. I want to see what that looks like because the Heat are a very good team that we haven't really talked about yet. But the Heat, the Celtics, the Lakers, any of like those high tier teams. I want to see what that duo can do against a good team. I'll take the loss if the Lakers lose. I asked for it.
I was kind
I was
of...
sitting here asking for it. You bring it.
I was kind of going towards more of the side of, like, it's early in the season. It's still early in the season. And you got two stars that haven't played with each other yet.
Mhm.
Like you guys say, you're not going to know how they play with each other.
Yeah.
You might as well, early in the season, where if you lose 1 or 2 games testing it out,
And if it doesn't work, just another deadline.
yeah, you have that. You have the early season, still able to come back and take your spot back, per se, if they lose.
Or find a rhythm.
Find what's wrong in practice. They have to play together on an actual game to actually see what benefits they get from this.
Go ahead, Nick.
When the deadline does come and they try to trade, are they going to trade?
No.
No, they're a championship team. I mean, unless if they can get like
But
the package back for Paul George.
if Paul George and Kawhi do not mesh well, and it brings that team down.
They trade each
I'm
other
just
back.
saying,
We'll see. We'll
Fine.
see if it happens. I don't think that's something that we need to address yet, just because
I
both
mean,
good defensive players.
I mean,
We
Jerry
love
West
that,
is a
but-
great owner and great president of basketball of
So
operations.
if something's wrong, he's
So-
gonna fix it.
Yeah, if something's wrong, he bet your sweet pippy I'm gonna fix it.
So now that we're kind of wrapping up the NBA, we touched on all the games from yesterday.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm surprised at how well the Thunder are doing this year. Like, I really
Cool.
am.
The Thunder.
The Thunder.
Surprised at how well the Thunder are doing this year.
Why? You're just realizing that they're just not complete garbage.
I thought they were going to be absolutely good because
They have they have
the
been
players that like, they have Chris Paul.
They have Shea Gildas. They have Steven
But-
Adams.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is putting up buckets.
But I didn't
he
know-
is getting
Lengthy.
insane buckets, and he is like a Kevin Durant, Brandon Ingram. Like
lengthy point
Go
guard.
around you with both hands.
I think that team is doing okay.
It's a young potential team.
But the thing is,
They
like,
need to
But I
trade
think
Chris
they're doing a
Paul
lot
and
better
Steven
than-
Adams.
with Chris Paul, he's he's in the early 30s.
No, 34. That contract
Excuse
is
me.
terrible for his age.
You got somebody that's 34 coming close to the end of the career.
His contract ends when he's 38, I believe.
37.
37.
Because he got 3
Unless
more
he
years
becomes,
left.
unless he's like Vince Carter, where like his body could actually handle it, but yet starting to deteriorate at the same time. You never know that one day he gets there and he's just gonna have a back spasm. And it's just gonna be the end
I
of
think
it.
Chris Paul's better off going somewhere else. I don't know about Steven Adams. I know a lot of teams would like a Steven Adams type guy. I just don't know which teams yet. Portland.
Or for who?
I think that if they could get more picks, I don't think they necessarily trade for all-stars.
No, like they
Or
don't need
even
to.
try to package them for
You
all-stars.
need picks.
You trade for picks.
Young guys that like a Markel, like looks like they're busted. If they pan out, they pan out. They don't, they don't. You know?
If they don't, you got rid of a bad contract.
Like Josh
for a
Jackson
decent
would be
contract.
perfect on this team. You know, you give him 40 minutes a game. You're not doing anything with the minutes. Get out of the league.
And if you trade him to a desperate contender, like a Mavericks team, like a Portland team,
Suns
or
could
even
use
possibly
someone
the
because
Heat.
yeah.
I mean, the Heat could pick a player or two up and be a solidified contender.
I think
But-
they still are though.
Yeah, I'm talking about they solidify the team. But if you like move that piece to get a pick, I don't remember. What I was
Because the
going.
Heat aren't trading away Bam or Tyler Hero now.
But they could give up picks because they have so many young players. Is what
They
I'm saying.
can't. They traded them for Jimmy Butler.
So you're telling me that they have no 2021 picks, no 2022 picks.
No, they traded them like they.
So they have no picks.
I don't think they had picks till like 2023.
So give them 2022.
Do you think the Thunder are gonna wait till 2023? They want like now, next year, and maybe 2022.
I don't know.
I mean,
I
they
don't even
could
know
take-
where I was going, to be honest.
It's okay. I think what you're going at is that you trade all your assets for picks at the deadline because that's when teams are most desperate.
That's what- yeah.
As the deadline
You
gets
find a
closer.
desperate team and you.
But here's the thing, though, is that as they get desperate and they know that the Thunder are going to give away their pieces, they have the leverage kind of because they're like, your team isn't going anywhere. I can just wait till your player's a free agent and sign him.
I mean, Chris Paul's not going to be a free agent for another couple
Oh,
years. We
no,
just
they're going to be
talked
like,
about
no, you can just keep that.
Yeah,
like,
so
more like
Wants
Steven
that
Adams.
contract though.
What?
His contract isn't.
It's
the
player
greatest.
friendly. It's very player friendly.
Oh, it's very in favor of Chris Paul's wallet.
Yeah, Chris Paul's wallet.
Yeah.
Not for
No,
anybody that
Not
actually wants to pay
Marquise
for him.
wallet. But
It's
if you're a
friendly
champion,
for a championship wallet. You go for it if you think you can bring in a
Luxury tax, yeah.
championship.
if it doesn't, then it's just a waste of comp because you are having for 2 more years after that.
So anything else we want to touch on for NBA? Anybody want to say anything?
Other than Brett Brown should be fired.
Fuck that.
Hey, he's gonna coach the Australian team in the Olympics. No.
He's gonna bring them to something.
Imagine. I will actually. Brett Brown, you don't know what I want to say right now.
All right, so let's get on the NFL Thursday night football.
shit.
Why, you had something else before we started? All right, it's all right. NFL. So the Chiefs beat the Chargers 24-17. Philip Rivers threw 4 interceptions. Melvin Gordon only rushed for 69 yards. Nice. And then my question is, should the Chargers draft another quarterback and get rid of Philip Rivers?
Real quick, you say Philip Rivers is trash, but he is a former. He's gonna become a Hall of Famer regardless.
Yes. He's just not putting up the numbers he should be.
You wanna
Yeah.
why he's trash? Other than
He's not putting up the numbers that Philip Rivers does.
okay.
So you're comparing him to himself, which means he's a pretty damn good player.
My thing is just they couldn't really get the run going. That kind of hurts the team. Yeah, I mean, yes, the Chiefs' defense isn't the greatest, but the past few weeks they have been showing up. They've actually been showing, like, Tyrann Matthews, that everybody in their backfield can do something. I feel like it's just Philip Rivers is kind of in a weird state to where
He's throwing picks left, right. You gotta get
yeah,
out of there.
they're like I don't think you're really still in a rush to get a quarterback, but if they do, you can't really go wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's definitely going to be. Don't get mad. It's going to be like an Eli situation.
Where he
Like
starts to slow down, you realize he's not what he was. And that
exactly.
you won your Super Bowl, so you gotta keep him.
Sacramento,
Rivers did
but
not
Phillip
win it.
Rivers
But
didn't- yeah.
Phil Rivers is not going to win it. But they're gonna probably get a quarterback, have him play one more season, and then have the secondary actually start over him.
If they're smart, that's probably what they'll do. They'll
slowly kick him out.
they'll try and go for one of these good young quarterbacks coming out of the draft. Hurts, probably not Burrow, probably not Tua, but we'll see what they can
I
get.
don't think.
Maybe
I
like
think
Jake
Tua
Fromm.
plummeted.
Yeah. The kid
But-
from Oregon, Herbert.
Yeah, him too. So there's a lot of, I wouldn't say like NFL ready quarterbacks, but there's quarterbacks that you can let sit behind a Hall of Fame, a potential Hall of Fame quarterback. So if that organization is smart, they draft one, they let him practice underneath a good quarterback, they see where they could go. But Melvin Gordon's got to do something. That Chiefs defense, are they really that good?
No.
They're not
Am I
that
missing
good.
something?
They're the one of the worst rush defenses in the league. Of course, the defensive line has gotten better.
They
in years
are
past.
large men.
And you
but-
did mention their secondary, which has gotten better.
But the thing is like, yes, they're
They're not good, though.
they're not good. But the thing is, the past few weeks they have been showing up.
Yes.
Like if you look at against the Texans, who would have thought that would have happened? How they're stopping them, and actually defense is part of their key.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good win for the Chiefs.
It's a needed win.
It's a needed win.
Mhm.
Right now, they're third, 7-4. The Colts are a game back. They're not catching the Ravens, though. I don't think the Chiefs are catching the Ravens or the Pats.
No.
I think it's a little too late in the season for that. But this is definitely their spot to lose, though. Because you got the Texans also at 6-4 and the Colts at 6-4, and they play each other. So if, say, for example, the Colts went out and the Chiefs lose another game, they are now playing an extra game in the playoffs.
Well, also you got the Chiefs coming up against the Patriots sometime soon, so that could honestly go either way.
Yeah.
That could be Tom Brady dissecting the entire defense, or that could be Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill combination being deadly.
If Tyreek Hill can stay healthy, because he did get hurt yesterday.
that's
He did
true.
go to the locker room for his hamstring. But Andy Reid's a great coach. We all know this. He produces great coaches. We all know this. I think that he can figure out a way, and hopefully they can stay top three. Because if not, then I don't think they're the same team. I know. I'm not saying their championship window is closed, but it's
like
more
there's
closed than open.
there's a chance that one team could really mess up and skyrocket the Chiefs up, but it's not guaranteed. It's like they're kind of playing the numbers right now.
Do we have a definitive number one team in the NFL right now, do you think?
The Ravens have been like one of the three best teams. Like one of the top three teams in the league. The Pats, the Chiefs, and Seahawks. Best, right?
That I'm not sure.
No, they beat the Seahawks and Texans. I know that.
and then the
And
Patriots.
the Patriots. There you go.
Yeah,
beat
they
the
lost to the
Texans.
Chiefs.
Yeah, but I think though that the Ravens, the way they've been playing and the way they killed the Patriots, like just it wasn't even a contest. You know, you were worried the whole time, and
Yep.
we were watching it like we were baffled, really. You know, and I don't think Belichick's really worried, but you know, the 49ers, they played the Seahawks and lost, so these top teams are losing to the lower tier playoff teams, but I think it's the Ravens or the Seahawks.
And to speak to the 49ers, they let the Cardinals stay in a game with them.
Mm-hmm.
Until that fourth quarter score, it's a possession game. Like,
Their offense isn't that good because Garoppolo isn't that great of a quarterback yet. He did get
still has to
hurt.
develop.
He still has to develop, but I just think the Seahawks, they've been there before. They still have Russell Wilson, and their offense with their receivers somehow are, you know, if they can limit the drops and play very smart football, I think the Seahawks and the Ravens are the best teams in the NFL right now.
Honestly, I gotta say the Ravens are probably the number one team right now. I mean, they have 2 losses statistically, no, but watching them and actually understanding their game plan, it's ridiculous. You got Lamar Jackson that is a absolute dual threat.
He's gonna win MVP, which is, you know, people want Christian McCaffrey and Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson, but Lamar.
I think it should go to
Deshaun
Lamar.
let himself fall out of the conversation.
Yeah,
in the
but
past game.
last week, yeah,
Like he had a couple of MVP caliber games, and then he just took a hit.
against Lamar Jackson.
He flopped in that matchup game, and yeah, a testament to their defense. But you see what happens when you face the cookie crumbled under the heat. That's what happens.
As I was saying,
Yep.
Lamar Jackson multiple times in this season, perfect passer rating
Yep.
with probably close to 100 yards each time for those 2 games, plus 100 yards here and there of just rushing. This season, or not this season, this last game, 400 total yards, 4 touchdowns.
They just dismantled the Texans.
It's
And I'm a
just-
I like the Texans. I enjoy what they bring, and I watched that game, and I just really was in awe because Lamar really is doing everything right and doing nothing wrong. And Harbaugh is part of the reason why.
Great coach, a Hall of Fame coach.
And they took a gamble on him trading the Patriots. Patriots trading that pick away, and I knew
I
as soon as the Ravens traded that pick, I knew they were going to draft Lamar because Joe Flacco's always been was he an elite quarterback, and then he got hurt. Lamar came, and he's only lost 3-4 games since then.
Yeah, it's just like you take away all their options. You got Lamar Jackson just running.
And
down
they
the
have a
field.
young receiver with Lamar, so they can grow together.
And that offensive line is better than it seems.
Yes.
Although he does have to run, most of the time it's because he says, I got a gap, not I got pressure.
Yeah.
So that offensive line, I think, plus the
half.
combination of those tight ends and he loves his tight ends.
Mhm.
His
They are
completion
fast
percentage
and
on
they
his
can
tight
catch.
ends is in the 70s, which is insane. Like, he just can find them. Those are the
Their
big
tight
over the
end,
middle
Mark
guys.
Andrews and Hollywood Brown are his best weapons.
I also feel like
Marking
sorry,
them.
you got offense. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to talk about the defense.
You can go for it. Shoot
I
the
feel
defense.
like their defense is severely underrated.
I
It's
don't think
because
it's
their
underrated.
offense overshadows. They outscore everyone, so it's not like
So when you win a game, what was the Patriots score? It was like 30 to or 27 to
let's talk about
30
the Texans,
something.
41-7.
41 to 7 because you had right after that fumble from Watson, I knew they got in his head. They were in his chest, they were in his head. But those games where they win, where it's a shootout, that's where the defense looks like it's kind of shoddy. But when you have the games where, okay, Watson didn't perform that well, but next week Watson's going to go and double, triple that score, what he did, and
Then you
have
look
less
back at the
turnovers.
defense. But the reason why they're underrated is because as us growing up, we always knew the Ravens had great defense.
Mhm.
So now they have a great offense, and we're like, whoa.
Yeah,
This is the
it's
reason why they're
completely.
winning.
Yeah, it's a completely
Instead of
different
saying
change.
the defense is the reason why they're winning, because we're used to saying that as a Raven.
Yeah.
You know, when we grew up, Cameron was a Ravens fan. You know, oh, this defense is the best in
Yeah,
the league.
the
You know what I
Terrell
mean?
Suggs,
And that's what we're used to. You know.
Yeah,
And now they're like,
Ray
wait a
Lewis.
minute, this offense is scoring 40 points a game. It seems like. So now their offense is the reason why, not their defense stopping their team.
My thing, real quick, was just
Go on.
like against Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady shook.
Mhm.
They had, quote me if I'm wrong, Earl Thomas
Mhm.
blitzing and almost getting his first career sack. Like, they shoot so many different gaps. They blitz. They
It's just that Harbaugh's a great coach.
yeah. You just like the greatest quarterback, Tom Brady, looking so flustered and helpless against that defense is insane.
And it's scary to watch because
They got
you see Tom Brady dissecting everything.
Don Martindale is one of the better defensive-minded, like, DCs in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The way he
Well,
can
because he's
attack
consistent.
different quarterbacks is crazy. Like, you watch the game plan, how they played against Deshaun Watson, where they only sent 4, sometimes 5, unless it was an obvious run. Where they played Brady and they sent 5, sometimes 6.
and their defensive line was just
Well,
destroying.
Patriots haven't had a great offensive line.
No, but this is one of the better ones they have. I mean,
Yes.
they have missing pieces, don't get me wrong, but just to see them getting pushed back and Tom Brady getting swamped
I
is
just think these past weeks are showing that.
Yeah.
that
but-
real deal.
It's a transition to an NFC young quarterback with an older tight end in Witten. Dak Prescott's kind of showing that this is his team. I hate to say it, I'm a Giants fan, but they put the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter to shut out a game.
Yep.
Not Zeke. They said, all right, we need a first down to seal this game. In a close game that we might lose, Dak, go ahead and throw. Go get us a first down so we can take a knee.
But
Put us
I-
in victory
So you think the
formation.
Cowboys are the best team right now?
I don't think the Cowboys are the best team. I just
They're
think
in
that
tops.
we need
I
to
know
we need
they're
to
not.
acknowledge that their record doesn't represent who they are. And I'm a Giants fan. I hate to say this,
Yes.
But-
Right now it's killing you on the inside.
but the way that their team runs, top 5, we'll say, offensive line, a good fast-paced defense with Byron Jones back there, Van Der Esch, Sean Lee, like those guys, the hard hitters that can move around, play like kind of different areas of the field.
Faster linebackers and safeties.
And then they're extremely high-powered offense. They got
Cooper,
great receivers
Yep.
that are putting up numbers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel
I
like
just still think it's the Ravens and the Seahawks. I think can beat the Cowboys in a given week. But I do give
No,
the
no,
Cowboys
don't-
credit
don't
for
get me
playing
wrong.
great weeks, having the past couple of weeks be good. But again, I just think that
I
the
feel like
Ravens and Seahawks are just better
for
teams.
No, I wasn't trying to say that they
Yeah,
were. I was
no.
trying to like continue the conversation on other NFL teams that could be potential playoff notables.
Well, I mean, they are a game. They're 6-4. The Chiefs are 7-4. So.
No, I'm saying like
Like-
notable teams that could make a run in the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
my thing is Dak has kind of been inconsistent. Like, if you look at him, he has cold games and then he has hot games where he's, like you said, able to, like, they into the game, you finally look at him like, all right, call your shots, you're doing good this game. But I feel like it's not always there. He could have a game where he passes 400 yards, let's just say. Then
Yeah.
the next game he'll just pass 100.
110. Have Zeke run for like 80.
Yeah,
Lose to the Jets.
that too.
But so now we're gonna talk. So we talked about yesterday. We talked about what happened last night per se. Now we're gonna talk about tonight. There's no NFL games obviously because it's Tuesday. But there are a couple NBA games out, and since it is later in the day, it's around 8:50 as right now. So there are a couple games playing. We got the Warriors versus Grizzlies. No notable, nothing really noticeable stood out to me in this matchup.
I say Warriors.
So right now the score is 40-34. 6 minutes up in the second quarter. I'm going with the Grizzlies for the win here. I just think that John Morant's proven
He
that in
deserves-
late games that he can.
I think the
he can pull
Grizzlies
it out.
need this.
So you'd say Warriors win?
I say the Warriors. I don't know. Like this is a game they could win.
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing. They're playing a less kind of mediocre,
No,
but
they're like two. They're like three here. Yeah, they're definitely lower tier. They're both fighting for a last spot. The Grizzlies are 5-8, and the Warriors are 2-12.
yeah. But no, they're not the greatest team. They have Grizzlies have the players, but I feel like just the Warriors could. I feel like they could possibly like upset.
Well, I mean, they're winning right now, and they. Fun fact. The Grizzlies are favorited by most they've ever been this season in a game.
Wow.
Against the Warriors?
Like, no, just in general. Like, this season, like, out of all the games are favored, this is the most they're favored by tonight.
Oh, so, I mean...
It is against 2-12 Warriors team, but...
I'm taking the Grizzlies just because this is a game that they need to win.
Mhm.
If they want to have any hopes of making any type of push, which I don't think realistically that organization thinks that they
I
will.
don't think they're ready yet.
But
If they get there, they're
It's-
going
Grizzlies,
far.
it's
it's a
definitely
game
not
that you don't want to really care about, but it's there.
Nick, you want to say anything?
Grizzlies, Warriors.
I said Grizzlies. I
Okay.
think John Morant needs it.
All right. So, next game, Trailblazers and Pelicans.
Melo!
This is Melo's night, and as of right now, he has 7 points in 12 minutes.
Like I said, I think he's going to end with somewhere between 14. He's going to be 15
What's his
points.
shooting percentage?
I don't know. I'm not going to
He's going to be 15 points on 5 rebounds with 3 assists, and he's going to be shooting anywhere between 50 and 60%.
All right, so right now they are losing
That was-
43-37. I enjoy watching Portland play. They are 5-9. I think they win this game though because the Pelicans are just not that great as of late.
The
But-
Pelicans,
Neither
They
have the
move
Trailblazers
well.
been. Pelicans do play together well, but I'm giving it to the Trailblazers. I think they're a better team.
I think with the addition
Game time.
of Melo, it's definitely gonna help having a little extra something. Whether it's like deep range twos, threes, posts.
who's that starting lineup for them today? Do we know? Who?
Melo's
Uh,
apparently
I know
started.
Melo got the start today. He got the call.
Who would he start over?
I don't think Dame did not play. Dame.
So no Lillard tonight.
So I don't think it is Lillard. Right as of right now, I believe it was Whiteside, McCollum, Hood, Mello, and Simons. Excuse me.
Well, that's completely different than what we're used to.
Yeah, Lillard's not playing tonight. I don't know
So-
why.
I'd like to see how Dame would play with Melo. I mean, I feel like it's not a bad combo. Melo's
Yeah.
played with.
Lillard's
Never
been
really
struggling though. He scored
great guard.
13 in a loss last night against the Rockets, so I think he's. I don't know if he got hurt or not.
He's probably on a
haven't read
back-to-back type
anything.
of rest with a soreness, but
Mhm.
But no, I feel like Dame would have played. I probably would have given it to the Blazers, but I'll give it to the Pelicans. I mean, it's gonna be an upset, but again, you still got young players, still comboing good, doing decent. So I feel like that could happen.
All right, so Suns and Kings. Fox is still out. Aiton's still out. I got the Suns.
I got the Suns.
You never know; they could upset the Celtics. You never know. But realistically, I got the Suns.
That's our first sweep. So we have the Suns winning, and then what I think is the lock of the night: Lakers and Thunder. I have the Lakers.
Locking the no, I'm just kidding.
I think this is my
Lock
my
with the
lock of the
Lakers.
night. Lakers.
Lakers.
This is your guys' lock.
The way that LeBron and AD and just the team has been moving as just a whole, not even just a team, just as a organization, it's just taking the West by storm right now.
All right. Well, there goes our pre-topics here. We're gonna get into our topics, actual discussions now to open up the book. And my first topic of the day I would like to talk about is Colin Kaepernick's workout. We could speak on this. We could not. We could completely bypass this. It's all up to you guys.
I just want to say one thing.
I'm able to bite the bullet.
He didn't look good, I don't think.
Okay, you want to go?
Go ahead, Nick.
Why didn't he look good?
What about
This isn't the way.
his throwing motion's always been unorthodox.
He's a pitcher.
He just doesn't.
He didn't wow you.
It didn't wow me at
Alright.
all.
Okay. Well, aside from the workout itself, because there are teams that could use a mobile quarterback, they didn't have him run.
Teams that can move a quarterback.
Chicago.
They didn't have him run. They didn't really have any drills to set up to see
Hugh
how do you
Jackson.
move in the pocket, how do you run. Hugh Jackson ran it.
I'm not Hugh Jackson.
I'm not him. If I'm there, I have him run a little bit at least.
Pat
See what he does.
McAfee does want to say though that that there was a couple factors into this, and I watched his podcast this morning here. Thank you, Pat.
I saw the little clip of it.
And he said that he didn't know the receivers and running backs before, and that the NFL wasn't going to let press into the building that they were going to use, so they had to move it 30 miles from the original spot.
60.
60 miles from the original spot. So Cap was already frustrated, right? He didn't know his receivers and running back before.
It.
What?
Yeah.
Cap moved it because he wanted media there, but it also shows that, in a real NFL workout, and I think Hugh Jackson knows this, that there is a lot of cardio, and that maybe he's like, okay, Cap, we've seen him run. He was a record holder for most rushing touchdowns in the playoff before. We know he's got wheels. Let's see what his arm looks like. But you still got to show all that aspect. So I think it wasn't a complete workout. I think he's got 2 more workouts before he can actually.
So what I was saying,
go ahead.
That you want to make this has been something that I've heard through the airwaves of like social media within sports. I don't agree with moving your workout. If you want, just let me speak to this for 1 second. If you want the media there, you want it. If you want to go into a place where you want employment, you want to play the game that you've loved since you were a kid, you want to play the game that you've been lobbying to play for the past 2-3 years now, that you've been denied and you've been pushed out of and you've been blackballed, why are you going to make the situation harder on yourself? I'm not in that position. I can't really speak to the exact situation and his mindset. I know you want media there. I know you want your own receivers. And I know you want time with the receivers. But if you go out there, you just stop talking, do your work, let your game speak for itself.
Yep.
That puts you in such a much better headspace amongst owners to the point where you don't have to go after your interview and tell them not to be scared. Because they're not. They know that you're not a publicity stunt anymore. You're going to put your head down and work. And yes, you want to prove a point still. You tried to sue him. That worked out however you want it, however you think it did. But you can't sit there and say, I want to change you guys, but you guys need to hire me.
My thing is, I don't think Colin Kaepernick actually wants to play. I think he just wants the notoriety to say, hey, listen, NFL still wants me. I don't want them. They're kind of like an AB thing. Like, oh, I don't need them, but they need me type of thing. My thing is just like, they set up. I can't speak. I haven't really dug deep into it, read everything about it. But I feel like maybe if you actually went into the stadium, they would have had more drills. They would have had a little bit more of what you wanted, what you needed.
Hugh Jackson was going to run it regardless.
Well, yeah, but you go to a high
But the
school.
Falcons were going to have their own facility set up for it. They had it all ready.
They had a whole facility, staff, management. But the thing is, he wanted to move for whatever reason, literal last second, to say, yeah, I'm not going to do it. We're going to do it here.
Though. Eight teams went.
Out of how many said that they were going to?
Pretty much all of them. Yeah.
I do think, though, that Cap can play. There are teams that need a quarterback.
And even if he's a backup.
At the end of the day, though, his workout was great, I think, proving that he can still sling the rock. And his wide receivers are making some catches still. I think they might be talented. I don't know who they are. But
yeah,
what he said at the end made me a little upset. Because, to me, when you're on the field throwing rocks, like what you said, if you kept your mouth shut, went to that locker room, changed, and went home, MFL's like, okay, this guy's like...
He's changed. His mentality is changed.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that because he shut his mouth and went home after. That doesn't mean that he's bending or breaking or not standing up for what I'm glad that he did. He made America a more...
vocal.
It's a more vocal place, and you can stand up for what you believe in, and that's great, and I appreciate that. That's good. If you don't like the way something's run, Americans, we have the free speech to say that we don't like it. But if you want a job by those who you are trying to say oppress you, you need to either say, I'm stepping away from that, and I'm going to better myself and try and better my nation, my people, and step away from that. Or you need to abide by their rules, say, I'm going to bite the bullet, I'll try and fix from within a players' organization or a players' association or whatever, and then build from that. Don't go, hey, don't be afraid of me anymore. You can't be afraid of me. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid of me.
The thing is
that's
like
not what you do.
You have to be afraid of him because of what he did. Like, don't get me wrong. Nothing's
wrong with what he did.
Nothing's wrong with what he did, but just the way he did it. Yes. If he did it in a more respectful manner, let's say he didn't take a knee, but he wasn't present. He was in the locker room. He was somewhere else. He was unseen. But I just feel like you're getting paid money, that much money, like, I understand that what you did is for your own belief. I have no problem with that whatsoever. I feel like it's just how you did it, and then you come like kicking everybody out of your life, saying, "Oh, I don't need them. They're this, they're that." Even though you're getting a paycheck from them, you're getting what you do.
He made a living off them.
Exactly.
You're living the dream.
And he literally he's that type of talent though that he could have just turned all this around and said, you know what, I'm gonna go play baseball.
That
At the end of the day,
he could have done so much more stuff, but he decided to do multiple publicity stunts. Hate everybody that's paying him. He goes, "Oh, I don't like you, even though you're paying me, but I want you to keep paying me." It doesn't make sense.
That's where you need to that.
I think that's just a common thing in everyone's job.
That's
We
what you
hate
gotta do.
working, but we enjoy the paycheck.
But he says he loves it. I mean, you had the Ravens give him an opportunity that he declined. Like, he had chances to prove himself that, hey, all right, I'm going to kind of not do it in this way, but hey, I'm going to give it a shot, even if I don't want to be with the Ravens, just to say.
I think it's good for him to work out. I just think that he needs maybe another one, like an actual one. Maybe he's got one with the media now. Maybe he should do one that the NFL sets up again. I don't know if they're going to set one up again or not, but the fact is that 8 teams drove the last minute 60 miles away from the stadium to show up to the workout that teams are interested. I'm pretty sure half of those were Bears faculty, but all jokes aside, though, I think there are teams that need quarterbacks, and that if he can check down a whole drive and score a touchdown.
End of the moral of the story here is, if you want a job, do what you can, and if you have your morals, and if you think you want to stand up for something that's not
Dear
justified, or your point of view that you think you should change, get the job, work hard, dedicate to it.
Get your money.
Don't
He's been to a
change
Super
up.
Bowl before. It's not like he hasn't done this before.
Don't-
He just has to get back there.
Don't change up before you have it set. You can't go into an interview telling the interviewer that they're wrong. You're never going to get that job. And if he does get this job, I hope he makes the most of it. I hope he performs well. He's a great athlete. I hope he's still in shape. But you can't go in there fighting.
All right. Well, on that note, we're gonna go to
We'll go to a different fight.
but first we're gonna end it. It's coming up on an hour here, so we're gonna end our first part and then start our second part very soon.